Welcome to the King Connections podcast. I'm your host, King, and I'm here joined today by Dr. Carmen, Delia, Ortiz. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes, Christopher, that's it. Carmen, Delia, Ortiz.
Delia, Ortiz. Okay, great to have you. Great to have you.
Thank you.
And I like to get started with my first question, just kind of to really set the context, and that is, what would you say your spiritual energy number is? Meaning that 0 meaning life sucks currently, or 10 being life is awesome. Where would you fall in to that particular range?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question again, please?
Yes. What would you say your spiritual energy number is? Being 0 being life sucks, or 10 being life is awesome?
The spiritual?
Yes.
I'm not...
Spiritual energy number. It's like choosing a number, a range between 0 being life sucks for me right now, or 10 life is awesome for me right now. I just want
got it. I'm sorry, I wasn't getting you.
No problem.
I would say I would give it like a 7, between a 7 and an 8, Christopher.
Okay, great. Thank
you. Working on getting to 10.
Well, thank you for indulging me with that question. I just like to see where people are, because everything's based on energy, and if people are 7 to 10, then it's going to be a great conversation. So thank you for that.
Yeah. I'm taking a course which I will highly recommend when it's offered again. It's called the Future Humans Quest. It is an amazing course, 7 weeks, and next week we complete it. And and it's all about becoming the future human that the world needs. And it's all spiritually grounded, spiritually based. And so maybe before I started the course, I would have answered maybe like a 5 or a 6. So there's been improvement, and I still have a long ways to go.
Well, so does all.
There you go. It's a process, a work in progress.
Absolutely. It's a journey, right? Not a destination. Well, So my first question would be, what do you see as your purpose in life?
Yeah. So I am working feverishly, very passionately on conscious evolution, Christopher, and everyone that's listening. And thank you for listening to this conversation. So I I'm committed to conscious evolution, to creating the planet, this more beautiful planet that we know is possible. And in order for it to happen, to be created, we need to step up. We need to collaborate and create it. If it's going to happen, it's up to us. And so I'm working on putting my little grain of salt in making that happen. That's my life purpose right now.
Well, I love that purpose. And like you, I share that purpose as well in a different way. But I'm sure that my goal is also to make the world a better place. Definitely my ecosystem I'm working within, for sure.
Yeah. We cannot, the challenges and the crisis in the world right now are so huge. And we're from the United States. And you look what's happening, in our own country and in other parts of the world, Russia and Ukraine. And we can't afford to go negative, meaning to go pessimistic and to lose faith and to lose hope. We cannot. We need to. There was an expression in Spanish. Let me see if I can translate it. I think it is in English also. When things get tough, the tough get going.
Absolutely.
So it is time for us who are on a mission, to create a better world, to get tough and to get going, to be tough and to get going.
Absolutely. But I'm curious, how do you say that in Spanish? How would you say that expression in
Spanish? Cuando las cosas se ponen difíciles, el valiente, the courageous, el valiente sigue hacia adelante y no se rinde. Never, the courageous person never gives up, and we keep going to basically, create what it is that we want to create. And we know what we want to create. We want to create a more just and peaceful world. That's what it is, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely. So that's a great segue into my next question, because to create a more just and beautiful world, I believe people have to be conscious leaders. And we hear that term quite a bit about someone's a conscious leader, conscious. So I always like to ask individuals, how would you define a conscious leader?
Conscious leader, yeah. This is a really good question. By the way, I love your questions. All of your questions were great, or are great. I would say a conscious leader is, besides being generous, compassionate, and with a spirit of collaboration, a generous heart, ready to contribute and to collaborate. It's also, to me, a conscious leader is someone that is that has acknowledged that they are one with the source, that understands that he, she is one with the universe, with the creator of all things. This is extremely, extremely important, because it is in that awareness, in that knowledge, and in that faith, knowing that we are one with the universe, that we return to love, stay in the space of love, and really understand that we are all one, that we are all connected, and that whatever it is that this conscious leader is working on, he or she understands that the vision is global, that as long as, for example, as long as a teenager is suffering in Nigeria or in Kenya, okay, as long as that youth, that child is not free, nobody's free. None of us are free.
Absolutely.
You see
Absolutely.
that? So
Yeah.
that to me is a conscious leader, is someone that understands that we are one, that we are all connected.
Yes, absolutely. I love that definition.
Thank you.
My next question would be, and this is an important question to me, because as I talk to individuals, I'm myself am a grateful person. I have a grateful spirit. I like to connect with other folks who also have a grateful spirit. So my question would be, what are you most grateful for in your life?
What am I most grateful for? That is such a powerful question. Excuse me. This one, and I jotted down. It's just one word: life itself.
Mm. Mm.
That's it. I'm just amazingly and deeply grateful for life itself, and for the opportunity to experience it and to live it and to be here at this moment right now. Yeah.
That's a beautiful answer. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what gratitude starts with first, is an acceptance of being alive, connecting to that
Being
energy.
alive. Yes. Yes. I'm
Now,
very grateful for the opportunity to when I say life, I mean energy, I mean source. I don't mean breathing, and eating and sleeping. I don't mean that when I say life.
yes.
I'm talking life's energy and the opportunity to contribute, to again be that, how can I say, that little grain of salt, to move this world to where we know it's possible, as long as we come together and make it happen. So I'm very grateful for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that answer as well. Now, you are the either co-founder or president of several different companies and organizations. And the first one, I would like you to tell me what the mission of each is, and kind of what inspired you to be a part of or found those. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask. Hopefully, I can pronounce this correctly. And let me know if I do. Supraconciencia.
Supraconciencia, which is supraconscious in English.
Ah, I love that. Superconscious.
Conscious. That's where it all starts. I want to summarize it because it's we could be here for a few hours talking about all these businesses and these projects, but I'm just going to summarize it for all of us. Listen, my partner and I, my wife and I, we are the creators of a new business model, which is the ethical spiritual business model. You can ask me questions about the model, but just know that it is a new business model. And along with the model, we created a system, a business system, a 15-step system for anybody that wants to build an ethical spiritual business. They can do it on their own following our model, which is theory and philosophy, theoretical and philosophy. But if you want to get to the nuts and bolts, then you could follow, if you wanted to, our system, our 15-step system. But we decided that we wanted to test this model because, as I said, it's all theoretical and philosophical. So it needs to be tested. So what we decided to do was to create our own businesses. And that's what we're doing. That's why I'm involved in various businesses. You would ask, well, aren't you just not working on one? Well, the reason is because we're like in an entrepreneurial laboratory. Really, that's what we're. We're in a business laboratory testing our business model with these various companies. And they are all very innovative, based on industry 4.0 concepts, such as integration and artificial intelligence, and just everything that's available to us technologically wise, we are using in our businesses, as well as all of the evolution, all the new evolutionary progress that we're making. Like example, DAOs, decentralized organizations, democratic organizations, which is the new way of building communities. Tokens, the whole concept of tokens we're implementing in our businesses as a new coin. So it's just all the new stuff. All the new stuff is being integrated into our new business model. And so we're testing it with various businesses. One of them is a hybrid. It's really interesting. It's a business structure that is a hybrid, also very innovative way of building a business, Christopher, which is when you create two sister companies, or a sister and a brother company, a nonprofit and a for-profit, working together under the same name. It's really, really interesting. This did not exist a few years ago. It did not exist. This is amazing. And you got the lawyers now that can make it happen from a legal perspective. You got the IRS that already has precedent in granting the 501c3 exemption to the nonprofit. If it's done correctly. It's complicated. It's a business structure that you need an attorney that has the skills and the knowledge to make it happen. But we're doing it with Teen Evolution. So Teen Evolution has a for-profit and a nonprofit business structure. Two sister companies or two brother companies, whichever you prefer to look at it. Amazing. And the purpose is the nonprofit. The objective is to transform the education paradigm worldwide. And the for-profit is to bring together communities in how can I say, resources and tools for teenagers to access the psycho-educational and psycho-spiritual, again, tools that they're not getting at home and that they're not getting at school. So Teen Evolution is basically facilitating for Generation C the connection, these young kids connecting to their inner power so that they can create the world that they wish to see. They are here to help us, again, with evolution of the planet, moving us to this more beautiful planet. Generation C, the young kids, the children, and the teenagers. But where are they going to get the tools if they're not getting it in school? They're not getting them home. Where are they going to get them? They're going to get these tools in with private projects, for-profit and non-for-profit businesses that are being created and that need to be created in order to bring these tools to these young people. And Teen Evolution is one of them, and we're doing it, and it's amazing, amazing company, Teen Evolution and its mission. That's Teen Evolution. Then we've got Supraconciencia, which is a mother company, supraconscious in English. And this is where we're going to be creating an incubator and an accelerator. It'll be the first ethical spiritual business incubator and accelerator. That's coming a little later when we've tested the model with Teen Evolution and with another company, which I'll share in a minute. So we're testing the model, and once it's tested, and what does it mean tested? It means that the companies are prosperous, they're growing over time, okay? They're thriving, and we can prove to the world that our ethical spiritual business model works. When we're able to do that, which we expect is going to take a couple of years to get there, then we will open up the incubator and the accelerator for other conscious entrepreneurs to come to us and build their own ethical spiritual businesses. And that's all under the name of Supraconciencia, which is promoting the mission of Supraconciencia is to promote conscious evolution through ethical spiritual entrepreneurship. And then the other company that we're testing, which is the first one out of the gate, is the first one. I shared information with you on it. This one is going to launch between mid-September and early October of this year. This is the first one out of the gate, and it's called Soul-Centered Financial Independence. Short, Soul Center FI standing for financial independence. And this is a private community, which again is going to launch September, early October, a private community, very accessible to anybody that wants to join it, where they're going to access inside of the community a transcendent, self-directed financial planning system. So anybody that's looking to create the life of their dreams with financial independence at the center, conscious people that are in their spiritual awakening, that want to live their passion, live their mission, prosper, thrive, contribute, serve the world, and all of that while they're building and creating their own financial independence, they're going to be able to come into the private community and achieve this desire and this dream. So that's Soul Center Financial Independence and Ethical. All the businesses that I'm sharing right now, Soul Center Financial Independence, Teen Evolution. The nonprofit arm of Teen Evolution is called Global Evolution Education, but it's going to operate under Teen Evolution as well. And all of these companies are ethical spiritual businesses where we're testing our model.
I love it. I love it. You're speaking my language. You're definitely the antithesis of a conscious leader in creating this, because as you and I both know, the need is there. It's a strong need, and we need to create the processes, systems, and the blueprint for individuals who have this desire of being conscious and they want to do some great in the world, to be able to connect to the education, the coaching, the consulting, the incubating, and then the finances to create what they feel and what they see is needed in the world. So,
absolutely. And there's no, I say enough is enough and that Soul Center FI is right now securing capital, raising capital for the company. And when I say enough is enough, what I'm referring to is we, society at large, conscious leaders, need to support conscious businesses. And we need to support each other. We need to, because the number one challenge, or one of the top challenges, as we all know, that a new startup has is access to capital, particularly if you're coming from disenfranchised groups, minority groups. It's almost impossible to access the appropriate amount of capital and type of capital. So the only way to solve this is, again, by supporting each other and by creating more spaces, more communities, more funds, capital funds, to support conscious businesses.
You definitely speak in my language. I'm on the same mission as well. And what I'm building, what I'm doing is creating a conscious fund for that purpose of funding businesses that want to make a change in the world. But at the same time, connecting these conscious leaders with this social impact capital, $3 trillion of social impact capital that has been pledged to put out there to generate revenue for these businesses. Because I believe now the shift in consciousness is now people realizing as investors that they're more concerned about the impact that capital is making instead of just a return. They want a return, but the impact is what drives the investment interest, not the fact it's a double-digit return.
There you go. Very good.
That's you and I on the same mission. So I definitely support what you're doing. I look forward to working with you and supporting you in your efforts. And as an investor myself, as my wealth grows, as well as a connector to other individuals that can help and support your organization. And then finally, I have a strong affinity for the Latin world of traveling to Brazil and Colombia and Dominican Republic. So being able to help foster classes and the coaching and the incubating for promising conscious entrepreneurs, I'm definitely in alignment with that as well.
Yeah, thank you. Because they're talking now, in the investment field about triple impact investment, right? Yeah. So you've got the economic return, you've got the social impact, and you have the environmental impact. Triple impact. In an ethical, spiritual business, we've got quadruple impact. We got one more, and that one more is conscious evolution, creation of the planet that we know is possible. So it's not about turning off fires. That's the social impact. You have a crisis and you need to turn off the fire, but the fire comes back because you don't get to the root of the problem.
Absolutely.
In an ethical, spiritual business, you're getting to the root of the problem. And therefore, you're actually able to solve it. And you know what's the root of the problem? I like to share with the audience. What is the root of all of the social crisis? We believe in Supraconciencia that the root is the separation from our divine self. If we're separated from our divine self, we do not then understand that we're connected, that we're one. And everything that I said at the beginning, when we're talking about conscious leadership, then it's not possible. And so, you can have a social leader, someone that's out there dealing with social crisis, domestic violence and animal abuse and hunger and, health issues like diabetes and cancer, education, etc. And that's a social leader. And that's beautiful. And that's very important. But I make a distinction between a social leader and a conscious evolution leader. Yes. The conscious evolution leader is saying, but wait a minute, for how many more years are we going to be dealing with cancer and with diabetes and with social violence? For, another 300 years are going to go by and we're going to be in the same boat because we're not getting to the causes. We're not getting to the root. That's what ethical spiritual entrepreneurship comes to solve.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I definitely applaud that mission, that vision, and the action you've taken in order to bring forth that justice and that change. Now, my next question is, with your experience as a professor, as a business consultant, as a business owner, entrepreneur, what do you see as some of the greatest challenges facing minority business owners? You might have already answered that, but I want to give you another chance to really kind of expound it if you want.
Well, here again, as a business coach of all colors, of people of all colors and nationalities, etc., I have to tell you that this question, the response to this question, I would say it's not. I don't see it like specific to people, to entrepreneurs of color. I see it as to any entrepreneur that is not coming from a family, with money, or the parents are saying, "Hey, baby, Johnny or Jane, here's all the money you need to build your business." As long as you're not coming from that kind of social economic background where you're going to have all the support for your startup, then frankly, we're all kind of like in the same boat. The number one challenge is funding. Again, access to capital. I've got a couple of more challenges. One is learning, because most entrepreneurs, I would say, of all colors, really, when they start a business, they're doing it empirically. In other words, by intuition. They're kind of like guessing. It's sort of like, playing the guitar without having the music, in front of you. You're kind of like,
yes.
Okay, that's the way my brother learned how to play the guitar. He was fantastic. He was great. He loved the Beatles music. He was able to figure it all out. But he was just, he had the gift. But unfortunately, we're not all born with the gift of entrepreneurship.
Exactly.
With that particular talent. So we need to learn. And in today's society, the question is, where do you go to learn how to build a business in this new global, social, mobile economy? Where do you go? I mean, not even business schools. Most business schools, they don't know what they're teaching today. They're in the past century. So where do you go? This is the issue. So we need the know-how. And the tools are amazing. So entrepreneurs today, what they do is they acquire tools and they buy tools, and I can buy this tool and I can buy that tool, but they don't know how they connect. How it's sort of like a plumber or a carpenter, that has the nail and then has the hammer and has this, but they don't know how everything fits. That we don't know how everything fits, how the puzzle called a business is connected, and planning, forget it. So if we don't know how we're going to build a business plan, if we don't know how everything is connected. So challenges, I would say, learning and where to go to acquire the knowledge. Where do you go? That's a big question, but you need the learning. Okay, you need to be, here's another challenge. You want to, particularly minorities, and people generous with a big heart. You know what we want to do? We want to solve the problems of everybody.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Big problem, because particularly when you're looking at the internet and you're looking at the global economy, where your client, you may be in Chicago and your client is in Australia. You need to segment the market, get as niched, as focus niched as possible. You can, and any entrepreneur that wants to solve the problems of the whole market, of everybody, what we do is we solve the problems of nobody. This is what we do.
Absolutely.
So a big challenge is to define very, very clearly who is our audience. And the more defined, the better. If you take, for example, Soul Center 5, a self-directed financial planning system that allows access to anybody inside of the private community for a very small investment, monthly investment, because that's the whole idea, is to provide access. And you could say, okay, so we're going to provide access to everybody. No, because it's not going to work. It's just not going to, we have to define the audience. So the audience, the soul-centered financial independence audience, are people that are in the journey of their spiritual awakening, that are committed to conscious evolution, that have a generous heart and want to make a difference in the world, that understand that we are all one and that we are all connected. Okay. And then that want to achieve financial independence. Look how it well defined, and I'm not even giving you all the characteristics. It's extremely defined, the audience of Soul Center 5. That allows us then to go and implement attraction strategies, let's call them marketing strategies, right? To attract that particular person. And not anybody else, but that particular person. And I did market analysis for people that fit that profile. And in the United States, it's about 7 million people that fit that profile. About 7 million people. And our goal is, 0.5% to capture around 4.5% of 7 million people inside of the community. And that's an extremely successful business if we do that. And that's just the United States. Then if we open it up to the world, then the audience is around 30 million people.
Yes. That's powerful. That's powerful. I love the answers. I love your thinking in this process. Again, I see the alignment that we have. And so as we talk about raising capital, we talk about positioning others through our systems, through our collective companies that we build, how to get access to capital, how to articulate their vision and messaging in a much more effective way. My next question is, we hear and we see the movements of conscious businesses, whether it's conscious capitalism, benefit corporations, triple bottom line, as you talked about that earlier, other socially responsible companies adopt that moniker. My question for you would be, how do you see this movement of all these conscious businesses awakening this awareness now, combining with the social impact capital investors? How do you see those individuals all coming together to create a more conscious and just access to capital for folks who want to start a business?
Yeah. And that in that answering that question, I want to go back to one last challenge that I forgot to mention that is connected to this question that we're addressing now. And it is the challenge, particularly among minorities, but really all entrepreneurs, very big challenge among women. I hate to say it, that is true. And that is the unwillingness or inability, I would say more unwillingness to collaborate. I don't know why. It's so difficult for the entrepreneur to understand that we cannot do it by ourselves. Why is that so difficult to understand? But you know why, Christopher? Because in order to collaborate, we need to trust others. Yes. And in order to trust others, we need to trust ourselves. And that's the challenge. Talking about challenge? Yeah. The challenge is collaboration, but you got to go deeper. And when you go deeper, why is it such a challenge to collaborate? It's because we don't trust ourselves. Anyway, so let's get to the question. This question about how, if having said that, what I just said, then how do we all come together, to support each other? The name of the game is collaboration, networking. But networking, not to socialize and to drink a beer and have a good time. Networking to support the goals of everybody in the network. And I want to tell you, I have had the blessing of joining and finding, first of all, discovering, and then joining and participating in various conscious evolution organizations that have been created recently. and I'm going to invite the audience to check them out. One of them, in fact, I'm a volunteer. I'm dedicating 4 hours a week to this organization. It's called GaiaNet Earth. And what I'm doing is I'm networking through LinkedIn, through my profile on LinkedIn, to identify conscious evolutionary entrepreneurs and professionals to invite them to join GaiaNet Earth. So I'm like a recruiter for GaiaNet Earth on a volunteer basis. And I'm super, super happy to do it because it is an amazing, amazing organization and it needs to grow. So you've got GaiaNet Earth. You go in there and people are looking to support each other, including with capital. You've got another organization that I'm participating in, amazing. It's called Kinship Earth. And it's amazing. And I'm going to see how I can support them as well with recruitment, with bringing other people. And then there's another organization. Those two that I just mentioned are free. You know, there's no cost to join. And people that are joining GaiaNet Earth and Kinship Earth are all about, again, what we just talked about. How do we support each other so that because they are clear, everybody that's involved in these organizations, just like I am and just like you are, we are clear that we have to support entrepreneurs that are working to create the new planet. They're putting their creativity, their energy, their time, right? So they deserve the capital. They deserve the capital. That's what they deserve, so that they can do what they're out to do. Because without capital, they're not going to be able to do it. Absolutely. So, and then there's another organization. This one has a $15 a month investment. It's amazing. It's an amazing organization. It's called Integral Life. Integral Life. So you got 3 right there that I'm inviting everybody that's listening to check out. GaiaNet Earth. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. If you want more information about GaiaNet Earth, I'll be happy to provide it because, again, I'm a recruiter for GaiaNet Earth. and then Kinship Earth, amazing, and Integral Life. And anybody that's interested, you can connect with me and I'll send you information.
We definitely, when we repost this, we're going to put your contact information in there so folks can get links to those websites and get access to you as well.
Okay, great.
Now, my next question is kind of shifting more back to your life and some of the things that I'm curious about. What one decision have you made in your life that you would say has been the most significant and most meaningful in your life?
The decision that's been the most meaningful? Is that the question?
Yes. Mm-hmm. What decision has been the most meaningful or significant for you?
No, wait a minute. The most meaningful and what else? And less meaningful?
Most meaningful.
Most meaningful. So the most meaningful, I would say, is one that I am living right now, which is my hero's journey. So I experienced as a professional something in my life in the 90s, which shook me to the core. Okay. Which, forced me to become the person that I am today. And many years have gone by. This was in the late 90s. Many years have gone by, like 30 years. And now I'm ready to go back and finish what I left unfinished 30 years ago. And that is the project. That is my hero's journey. I'm accepting the call to finish what I left unfinished 30 years ago. Wow. And that's called soul-centered financial independence. And if anybody that's interested, I can, you can contact me and I'll send you information so you can learn all about what I'm talking about right now, because it's profound.
In future conversations with you, I definitely want to look at how we can utilize virtual conversations, social media, to get the word out more about soul-centered financial independence, or what was it? Financial.
Phi, Soul Center Phi. Phi stands for financial independence.
Soul Center Financial Independence. Because again, like I said, it's directly in line with what I advocating toward wealth building. And I think we're going to find people who are in line with that. So definitely going to look at ways we can co-create that space.
Yeah. This is my most meaningful event in my life, or experience, I should say, or journey. You know, life is a journey, and the journey has many journeys. Well, this one, inside of my life's journey, this is my most important journey, is to complete what I left unfinished with Soul Center Phi and give it my all, my heart, my soul, my energy, my body, my mind, and make it extremely, extremely impactful, powerful, and in a source of transformation, world transformation, and contribution.
Absolutely. Now, as we talk about making these things happen, and you talked about this earlier, the importance of collaboration, of people coming together. I am a connector. I see myself as a connector. You say you're a recruiter. You know, as we talk about building these relationships, I believe there's certain key characteristics that I look for in individuals I'm going to get connected with, that I also look for understanding within myself first. As you talked about, we got to first connect with ourselves, and then what I look for in others. So if I don't have it in myself, I can't hold someone else accountable to have these characteristics. Mm-hmm. So my question for you would be, are there any characteristics that you look for in your connections you're building with individuals?
Any characteristics or qualities? Is that what you're asking? Yeah. So the most important thing for me, and I suggest for any entrepreneur, this should be the most important thing, and that is philosophical alignment. There's got to be an alignment of, in terms of vision, mission, values, principles. There's got to be a 100% alignment. And because I am on a mission, my purpose, this was the first question, is the promotion of conscious evolution so that we can create the planet that we know is possible, then the most important quality I would be looking for in this person that I want to collaborate with is that they align with the promotion of conscious evolution to create the new planet. That's the most important thing. You take, for example, the investors that I'm seeking for Soul Center Phi. That's the number one quality. If they are not aligned with conscious evolution to create the planet that we know it's possible through Soul Center Financial Independence and providing access to people to this amazing, amazing process. It's a 10-step process that we're creating. If they're not totally aligned, then no, they could, they could offer me $1 million and I would not be interested. They could say, hey, I want to fund Soul Center Phi, everything that you need, and I want to multiply it by 10. And I would say, no, thank you.
Yeah. Understood and respect that. So of all the things you've accomplished for in your life that you've already accomplished, what would you say has been the most rewarding to you?
Yeah. So, excuse me. The most rewarding is, without a doubt, the creation of the ethical spiritual business model. This has been my greatest, I would say, contribution. I don't want to use the word achievement, and it's not even about me. I don't even take too much credit for it. We just opened up, and the universe, gave us the intelligence and the wisdom to create this model through visions, images, dreams. It was amazing how this model was channeled, really, by the universe, through us. So, but it's the greatest contribution, and the thing that I'm most joyful about is bringing to the world the ethical spiritual business model. This is why it's so critical that it be proven to be a successful model. It's critical. This is why Soul Center Phi has to be an extremely successful company, same as with Tiny Evolution. Because once the model is tested, then the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to contact the dean of the Columbia University Graduate School of Business, where I acquired my MBA in business. That's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to call the dean and I'm going to say, hey, guess what? I'm an alumni from the class of 1985, and I've got something that you have to learn about and discover so that then we can teach it to your current students. And when I go with the results of Soul Center Phi and of Teen Evolution, they're not going to be able to deny that opportunity. That's how important this is. Can you imagine if I've got the blessing, the opportunity to go and talk to the students of one of the top business schools in the country, where I had the privilege of studying and graduating from, and then that school then opens the door to Harvard and Stanford and Chicago and MIT. And once I've spoken about ethical spiritual entrepreneurship to the top MBA programs in the United States, then the world is our oyster, because all the rest of the top MBA programs in the world are going to want to listen to what's the story about ethical spiritual entrepreneurship and what is this all about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, in keeping your mind in this positive state of mind, I'm always like to ask this question of people I interview, conscious leaders, because we're tasked with being positive when we wake up, despite all of the other issues and circumstances and news that dominate the headlines. And my question for you in that context, are there any morning rituals that you go through to kind of keep yourself in the belief in the conscious state of mind that you currently are possessing right now?
Oh, I love that question, by the way. And I find it extremely important because we are mind, body, spirit. And so we need rituals to nourish and support our mind, our body, our spirit. And so what I do, you mentioned rituals in the morning. I got in the morning and I've got it also in the evening. But in the morning, I've got, excuse me, a short meditation, quick one, 10 minutes, 15-minute, deep breathing, centering, mindfulness, you can call it that, meditation. Okay? That's a short one. Then I've got nutrition. I get into I'm living in Cuenca, Ecuador, Christopher, and everybody that's listening, that's in South America. And when I packed my bags in Florida, the first thing I packed was a blender called a Vitamax.
Yes, I'm familiar with that.
That's the first thing I packed. Because I knew I wasn't going to find it here, which, by the way, it's not available here. Pay like $500 for it. Blenders here are, $40, $50 blenders. You can't do what I need to do with my Vitamax. So in the morning, I do my green juicing. That's what I do in the morning. I do my green juices so that I can stay healthy. And that's how I start the morning, is with, about 4 or 5 glasses of green juice. So nutrition is very, very important. I am a vegetarian. I do eat a little bit of cheese, not much, and organic eggs. But the rest, I'm a vegetarian. And then exercise. So I've got the privilege of living very close to a river here, beautiful river with a walking trail. And so I go out and I do my walking every day. So that's in the morning. That's my ritual in the morning. And also in that meditation, that brief meditation, is setting the intentions for the day. It's sort of like, from a spiritual perspective, it's sort of like the to-do list. We have our to-do list, right? And then we have our intentions, which are much more powerful than a to-do list. Of course, you start with a to-do list, but what are your intentions? What are you really are out to create that particular day? So that's in the morning. And then in the evening, before I shower in the evening and get ready for bed, then I do a deep meditation. That would be like 30 to 40 minutes meditation. And I learned to meditate with Deepa Chopra. So I've got my own mantra, and it's transcendental meditation. That's what I use in the evening.
Deepa Chopra is one of my, I had never met him, but through his books, he's definitely one of my spiritual leaders and been a huge influence in my consciousness growing. So
I was with him. I'll share this story. I was with him. I flew from Puerto Rico. I was living in Puerto Rico at the time, and I learned that he was going to be in Virginia for a 3-day workshop on meditation. This was in 1997. I told you that in the late 90s, something happened in my life, which is what I'm finishing now with Soul Center 5. Okay, so that's all part of it. But anyway, so I traveled to Virginia from the Caribbean to be with Deepa Chopra for 3 days. And what I want to share with you is that it started Friday night, then Saturday, then ended around noon on Sunday. Friday night, we started with Deepa at around 6 p.m. and we ended at midnight. So we were with him for 6 hours. But what I want to tell you is that for those 6 hours, we did many exercises with the group. It was like 1,000 people that came from all over the world. And we did many exercises in groups of two. But all of the exercises were to answer one question. Just one question, the same question for 6 hours.
Wow.
The same question. And here's the question. What do you want? Now, why would Deepa, leading a 3-day event, invest the first 6 hours of the event asking us to answer the question, what do I want? Reason being, because we don't know.
Right. Absolutely.
In our human condition, most human beings, we do not know what we want. This is the problem. This is our, going back to the challenges, that's the number one challenge of an entrepreneur, is really getting extremely 1,000% clear on what it is that he or she wants to create in their life.
Absolutely.
And through meditation, you get to learn who you are. You get to know yourself. Self-knowledge, extremely important. And the more you get to know yourself, the more you're able to answer the question, what do you want?
That's a beautiful story. You're absolutely right. Thank you for sharing that.
Okay.
My last two questions, which are two of my favorite questions, and I must set the context for this question because although as it sounds, it may sound like it's a play on my company. And my question is there a king connection you would like to meet? And what I mean by king connection, I'm not referring to my company or my name or anything like that, but it's a term that I created based on an individual who has achieved a certain level of, whether it's financial success, career success, societal success that you admire. And this individual, if you were to connect with them and co-create with them, they will change your life exponentially. And so with that being said, again, I've developed a process and methodology for making these connections to these individuals. So I'm not speaking of as a fan when you're here and they're here. I'm speaking of someone that will look at you as a co-creator and collaborator on something there that's important to them, that's in alignment with what you're working on. And so, for example, mine would be Magic Johnson. I'm in the real estate. He's in the real estate. I'm a business owner. He's a business owner. He provides capital and he provides guidance. So for me, I would love to co-create with him in developing these conscious communities I'm building. So my question for you, who would be a king connection for you? And it could be several, not just one, but I'm just curious, who would that person be or those persons?
Well, for Soul Center 5 again, I'm creating 3 advisory boards. Not one, 3. And all of the people that I'm inviting to these 3 advisory boards would be King Connections. And the first advisory board is people that are world renowned and are in the industry or in the area of holistic, integral, soul, spirit-based financial planning. Mm-hmm. And the number one person, his name is George Kinder. He wrote the book in the 90s, 7 Stages of Money Maturity. And he's the creator of the life financial planning movement. And he's already on our advisory. He's the first member of the advisory board. He evaluated, reviewed Soul Center 5, and he's with us. He says, this is exactly what's needed in the world. I'm with you. I support you. I'm going to be interviewing him in the Soul Center 5 podcast during the pre-launch, etc. So that's George Kinder, a King Connection. He's already with us. But for that particular advisory board, which again are the financial people, life and again, world renowned. One that I'm going to be inviting, which would be amazing. Her name is Vicki Robbins. She's the author of the book, Your Money or Your Life, which has sold over 1 million copies. And I had the privilege of meeting Vicki in the 90s again, when I was going through that experience, and to talk to her about translating Your Money or Your Life into Spanish. And which then, because of what happened to me, she found somebody else to translate it. But the book is now available in all languages, many, many languages. And she's still active. She's still around and active. And I would like to have her as a King Connection on our advisory board. So I'm just mentioning one. And then I'll mention one more. In the other 2 advisory boards, the second one are spiritual leaders. Spiritual leaders. Deepa Chopra would be one of them. And then the third advisory board are business leaders that are into the cutting edge of business today. Cutting edge, the top. And in that group, I will be looking for people that can help us on this advisory board to take Soul Center 5 to its maximum potential from a business development perspective. But I want to mention one on the spiritual advisory board, and her name is Dr. Anna Lowe Smithsman. She is the creator of the course that I told you I'm taking called Future Humans Quest. I'm taking that course, and it's a 7-week course, and we've got 1 more week to go. It's one of the most profound spiritual and personal growth experiences that I have had in my life. This course, Future Humans Quest, is about how to become the future human that the planet needs, which is not even a future human, is a present human. And anyway, and she's the creator of that course. And I'm going to be inviting her to be on the advisory board of the spiritual leaders.
I love it. I love how you thought it through and you have these folks already identified in your mind. And that's the first step. Now, my last question I wanted to ask you is, what book, and you mentioned 2 books in that answer, so I don't know if it's going to be that book or not, but what book would you recommend to the listening audience that has either A, been the most influential book in your life, or one of the most influential books, or maybe the most influential book you're reading currently?
Yeah.
That you would recommend to our listening audience?
Yeah, I'll just give you 3. The most important book in my life, which is the one that brought me out of the darkness when I experienced what I experienced in the 90s. It wasn't coaching. It wasn't a church. It wasn't a course. It wasn't a workshop. Although to come out of that darkness, I spent over $100,000 in all of those things.
Wow.
Over 100, just in coaching, 60,000. I told you, traveling to see Deepa Chopra was part of that investment. $100,000 coaches, trainings, workshops, live events, traveling here and there to find myself. And I found myself with one book, $25.
Got me intrigued to know what book that is.
The Course in Miracles.
Ah.
A Course in Miracles. That is the book of all books for me. But then recently, you mentioned recently I discovered Charles Eisenstein. And he's the author of a book that I'm recommending. It's called Sacred Economics. You will love it. It's Money, Gift, and Society in the Age of Transition. That's the subtitle.
Sacred Economics.
Sacred Economics. And the second one that I just discovered that I'm reading now is by Dr. Lisa Miller. She's the director at Columbia University Teachers College. She's the director of the spiritual psychology department. So they're offering now a master's degree at Teachers College, Columbia University, combining spirituality with psychology. And she's the creator and the director of that program. And she wrote a book recently called The Awakened Brain, The New Science of Spirituality and Our Quest for an Inspired Life. Amazing. Check her out on YouTube. And those are the two books that I would recommend.
Well, thank you, Dr. Carmen. You have shared some profound wisdom. You've shared your great vision, your purpose in life, the businesses that you're creating, all going to be transformational. And I love the fact that you want to share that on the King Connections podcast. So I want to thank you again for this investment of time and energy, and give you the opportunity to please share your contact information with us so that folks can get more information from you.
They reach me on LinkedIn. They're seeing this on LinkedIn right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, just put my LinkedIn profile and they can go to my LinkedIn profile. I'll be waiting for anybody that listens to this podcast. I'll be waiting for you with open arms to continue this conversation. So thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share with your audience, Christopher.
Again, thank you for being you. Thank you for following through on your purpose and taking forth an action and being a spiritual conscious leader that you are. And listen, audience, thank you all for listening to the King Connections podcast. This has been another episode. Look forward to many episodes in the future. And to then, I want to wish everyone a blessed and productive day.
Be well. Blessings to